Welcome to Power Fridays Live, the channel that aims to make a difference in the world through transformation, spiritual growth, and for entrepreneurs. Our vision is to empower individuals to live their lives with purpose and to make a positive impact on the world. We believe that power and purpose are the driving forces behind success and fulfillment in both personal and professional life. Through our broadcast, we discuss business strategies and techniques that can help entrepreneurs achieve their goals and take their business to the next level. We believe that through sharing knowledge and experience, we can empower each other to succeed and make a difference in the world. Now here's our host, Janelle Pulley.
Hello, welcome to Power Fridays Live. How are you doing this evening, Yolanda?
I'm great. I'm ready. We had some things
Great.
happening behind the scenes, but we're ready to go.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition, the 200th episode of Power Fridays Live, where today we open the pages of history to welcome a figure whose single leap transcended the bounds of athletics, echoing the halls of time as a testament to human potential and the spirit of perseverance. We are beyond thrilled to have with us live a man who is not just an Olympian, but has become a symbol of transformation and excellence, Mr. Bob Beamon. In the electrifying atmosphere of the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, amidst a world wrestling with tumultuous change and a nation grappling with the urgent cries for civil rights and equality, Bob Beamon took the runway not just with the aspirations of a nation on his shoulders, but with a deeper personal quest for greatness. What followed was a jump so monumental it shattered records, expectations, and the very limits of what was believed possible. With a leap of 29 feet and 2.5 inches, Bob didn't just win the gold. He leaped straight into the chronicles of history, setting a record that stands unbroken, a testament to the power of human will and determination. But the story of Bob Beamon doesn't end with that iconic leap. It continues through his journey beyond the track into the world of music as we celebrate Black Music Month here in the month of June, where he channels the same passion and excellence into his craft as the lead percussionist for New York's #1 jazz band, Stix Bone and the Bone Squad. Today, Bob Beamon is not just remembered for the distances he conquered, but for the lives he inspires, combining the rhythm of the drums with the heartbeat of a champion. So, as we sit down with this living legend, we delve not just into the record books, but into the soul of a man who has witnessed the pinnacle of athletic achievement, navigated the complexities of fame, and found harmony in the melodies of life. Join us as we explore the journey of a man who leaped not just for the gold, but for a legacy that continues to inspire from the tracks of Mexico City to the jazz clubs around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor to introduce to you Mr. Bob Beamon. Welcome, Mr. Beamon. How are you this evening?
Great, Janelle, and to Yolanda and your wonderful staff. Again, we had a very interesting startup in getting this program worked on, and you got some great people to make it happen. So I'd like to take my hat off and thank them for sticking with me and making this possible, making this show possible.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. As with your life, you've made things possible and you made things happen. So that's what we're here in Power Fighters Live. And I would just like to get started to find out a little bit more about you. I am so honored. And you may find me tongue tied because I'm just so stoked and so excited to have you with us this evening and so appreciative to, have before us an Olympic icon. But Mr. Beeman, before the world knew you as an Olympic icon, can you share a glimpse into the life of the young Bob Beeman?
Absolutely. Let me give you a couple things to uh, kind of keep in your back pocket. And my dream became a reality in '68, but my dream started, at the age of 9 years old. My commitment became alive somewhere between 1963 and 1964, where I actually watched and heard some incredible athletes make some great leeways into the world of track and field and into the Olympics. And the two people, or the three people that I'd like to make comment to is Wilma Rudolph and Ralph Boston and Donna Di Verona. Now, in '64, I actually had the opportunity to hear the Olympic dreams, how they dream about becoming an Olympic athlete, but also uh, all three of them won gold medals. And so, what was so interesting about it in that year in '64, where the Olympics was held in Tokyo, and prior to that, uh, it was in Rome, where Wilma Rudolph actually ran. And Ralph Boston won a gold medal, and Donna Di Verona won it in '64. So we had three incredible athletes that have done extraordinarily well in the Olympics. Now, if we deal with time and year, in '64, many of our black athletes could not really vote.
Hmm.
And I think representing the United States, to me, uh, was a big and very important move. If you can imagine what would go through a athlete, African American athlete, uh, in '64 or 1960 through '64, prior to when they signed the voting bill. Uh, it was, can you imagine people running for the country and they can't even vote? It's astonishing. It's hurtful. Um, just to give you some point of reference, um, and as I said that in at the age of 9 years old, I started to become very involved in the basic fundamentals of sports: run, jump, throw things, uh, which could be basketball, it could be a football, it could be a uh, a regular rubber ball. I mean, it was uh, truly an experience to learn how to manipulate your body into all kinds of wonderful positions as a youngster. I wish I could do that now. However, it, it won't work for me right now. Uh, but to have that wonderful experience of having those basic fundamentals come to me, not only uh, listening to the three athletes that I'm talking about, which was Roman Rudolph, Ralph Boston, and Donna. I do feel that I had to start somewhere, and as a result of starting, I would think that every kid in the block could probably beat me running, and I had not even experienced jumping in the long jump, but I um, did a lot of very interesting running, but I would usually come in last place when it came down to running. And so uh, spiritually, it didn't satisfy me. And so what happened was that I started uh, to burn the candle at both ends. And so I wanted to hang out, drink, smoke, hang out on the streets between the age of 10 and 11. And to be honest with you, there was no commitment around at that time in my life. So I had no special person that I could go to and give me some motivational, give me something that may help me find myself. And that continued to go on until I was about 14 or 15 years old. So, excuse me. So it was a lot of learning, a lot of losing, a lot of saying that I want to do something, but not really wanting to do it, not really showing commitment. So in '64, and I use that as the probably a little bit of the turning point in my life, where I actually heard the great conversations from Wilma Rudolph and Ralph Boston and Donna. And they talked about how they traveled the world, how they continued to work as a goodwill ambassador by participating in so many different countries. You know, we're talking about Russia, we're talking about Germany, we're talking about Rome or Italy, we're talking about Africa. They were very exciting motivators that made you want to say, you know what, that sounds very interesting. I would like to maybe get in that lane and possibly find a way of doing it. And the travel was very exciting to me because I I would assume that you know it by me looking at the photos around the world would give me that inspiration and motivation, and it did to a certain point. And but that started me to begin my love for sport, and not specifically just track and field. It was basketball. It was baseball. It was whatever I can get my hands on. You know, again, I was a guy that never won anything, and so I said, if I win something, maybe something will happen. And so I worked at it, and I worked, and I worked it, and I worked, and I worked, and I got beat, and I got beat, and I got beat so many times that my appreciation of winning is just really phenomenal in thought. And so I did begin to start committing myself around 15 years old. Uh, again, I was really staying, hustling out in the street. I had not truly committed myself to the sport. And so I hung very heavy out in the street and got kicked out of regular middle school and was sent to 600 school uh, and sent to a school where some of your biggest uh, drug dealers in the country were going to school with me. And so uh, looking at that 600 school, I tell you the truth, it kind of turned me into a person that said, you know what, I can't be dealing with this here too much longer because there was no happy end result by hanging out with these cats and thinking that I could do something later down the road. Uh, I could, but it would not be in a good way. I probably would be incarcerated in some, or I would have one foot, as the teacher would say, Bob, you have one foot in the grave and one foot out. Man, what you try, you on your way. And at some point in my, I thought that was a cool thing, to have a foot in the grave and a foot out. I thought that was dynamite. And one of the cats in the neighborhood was shot and killed, and which is a friend, and actually going to the funeral home and actually watching this kid that we talked about doing things together, hanging out together, and looking at him in a coffin had to it threw me off because he couldn't talk, he couldn't tell me how he felt, he couldn't tell me what happened, I mean, it was a sign of saying, yo, you got to do something. And you didn't have to do it so quickly, but it gave me a clue that if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be right there with him. And so I said, I want to see some of the world that my friend who is no longer existing now, that we talked about it. I want to see England. I want to see Europe. I want to see Africa. I want to see all the wonderful places in the world. And so that particular experience with me took me to another level of consciousness. And that was the beginning of really saying that, this can't go on any longer. However, I still had a little bit in me, I still had that little,
So, Mr. Beamon,
yes, sir.
when would you say that you realized you had that something special? What was that moment? You said that you dabbled in different sports, basketball, baseball, whatever it was. When did you realize track and field was it and you had something special?
I realized that I think I was 15 or 16 at the Junior Olympics. Actually, I really didn't know anything about the Junior Olympics, but one of my friends who ran for the PAL said that all of us we need to go down to Randall's Island and participate in the Junior Olympics. And so I had been training a little bit. I had started, as I said, committed a little bit to this, to the dream. And I went down there on a Saturday. I didn't have any money, so I skipped the turnstile and jumped over to get on the train. I didn't have any shoes. I had to borrow some shoes, some track shoes from my partner, from my team partner, who got sick in he was supposed to be long jumping. He said, Bob, take my place. I said, but it looked kind of easy, I said, at least, I'll jump into the sand, I think I can make jumping into the sand and and do fairly well. And on my first jump in the Junior Olympics, I jumped 24 feet 1 inch, which
Wow.
jumped and broke the Junior Olympics record. Still in 600 school, and I
Wow.
became a centerfold picture of me jumping in the newspaper, which was the New York Mirror, that's no longer existing. But I had the centerfold. They had me jumping in there, and I got a medal. That was my first medal. And let me tell you, uh, I guess I didn't even know how to act. It was just so unbelievable. I thought I was, you know, in a dream or something. And so I had this fake leather bebop hat, and I put my medal on the hat. I said, I put my medal on the hat. I know that the girls are going to say, yo, where you get that from? And, so then I could say to them, I like to be, I want you to be my sweetheart or something. Then I could talk. I could talk stuff. I could like be a star, as they would say. But uh, the the jump really put me in a good place. I went back to my 600 school and showed the picture of this jump, and the principal said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to go back to regular school." I said, "I've got it. I'm ready. I'm willing to take that chance." And that was when I took this wonderful picture to Jamaica High School, and at the time there was very few black people that were attending, and Jamaica High was uh, considered as one of the top academic schools in the country. And to be honest with you, I was, that was the one thing that really concerned me was the ability to keep up academically. But I managed those 2.5 to 3 years, almost 3 years in high school, and graduated and became All American in track and field, All City honorable mention in basketball, and I had a lot of girlfriends too. So, so basically, um, taking you up to that point uh, meant that I was committed. I had a wonderful coach named Larry Ellis, who became the first black coach in the Ivy League at Princeton University.
Mm.
And I he saved me, and he believed in me. Uh, I will always be with him spiritually because he gave me my start and believed in me. And so I did not let him down at no point. And actually, yes, I did, because he wanted me to go to another school, another college, as opposed to A&T. He did not want me to go to A&T. He wanted me to go to either Texas Southern or North Carolina Central University. And I was getting a big head then. I thought that when you get a scholarship, they give you a whole bunch of money. You get you get thousands of dollars, and you get a car, and you get clothes, so you can like be out there looking good for the people. So when the coach came to my house, he said, "Bob, this is what we're gonna give you.
Hmm.
We're going to give you 4 years of college. I was like, what? I was, at that time, I was, my head was spinning then, I'm all American. I'm saying, where's the money? But realistically, that was the greatest interview that I had with a coach because it made me down the road realize that education was critical and that 4 years of college uh, would be the best move that I could make. And it took me a minute to put all of those things together. I ended up going to A&T for almost a year, and I did extraordinarily well in the conference. I won the long jump and the triple jump, and so I was on my way to something that I think would be would stay with me for a long time.
Well,
And so,
we're going to talk about that because
oh,
not only did it stay with you, it stayed with the world. And Janelle, I think that takes us to the place of
Yes.
1968, a time where the world was grappling with social unrest. And not to mention what was going on here in this country in 1968. That was the heart of the civil rights movement. That was one of the hottest summers ever. And you found yourself in Mexico City. So we spoke about those things that led you up to this moment. But we're going to take some time and we want you to reflect on that, not just that jump that made history, but some of the other historical things that took place during that Olympic Games. And I'm looking at your backdrop with Tommy Smith with his fist raised. So we're going to go there and we want to spend a little time talking about that. But before we do, I just want to read something to you. So I just want you to, you could close your eyes if you choose to. But after I finish reading, I want you to talk about
Mhm.
what you were feeling at that time, mentally, physically, what was happening for you. As they walked to the start, the three U.S. quarter milers, Lee Evans, Larry James, and Ron Freeman, turned to watch a friend and teammate take his first try in the finals of the long jump. The man was Bob Beamon. He sprinted lightly down the runway and leapt. From their angle, the 400-meter men couldn't guess his distance, but Beamon had jumped so high that he performed his hitch kick and got his leg out in front while still about 5 feet above the pit. As he descended, he was like a majestic prehistoric bird, suddenly awkward near the earth, landing hard. Take us back to that moment. Leading up to that jump, how did you prepare for it? How did you prepare your body mentally, physically?
well, first of all, Yolanda, uh, I want you to, uh, uh, you know, you're my loving cousin, and between you and your brother, y'all my favorites. Uh, here's what I want to say. Your mother has something to do with getting me on the right track too, because when she would see me, man, she was always very interested in how I was doing, and uh, I was like, wow, it was always good. I mean, I looked at your mom like she was my hero. She was as great as God to me. It was like, and for her to ask me how I'm doing. First of all, I lost my mother when I was 11 months old, and I never knew my father. And so
Mhm.
she was, and her father and them.
It's 9 o'clock.
They were always, always important to me. I used to always want to be a dancer too, and so when your mother would see me, she would say, "Show me what you know," and I would get up there and start dancing and all that kind of stuff. And so she said, "Wow, you can really go." And and her sister Audrey, they would be together. They would say, "Hey, you did so well. We're gonna give you $1. Here, take $1. Go on, take." Yeah, it was, when I was young, those two gals were really, really, very motivational to me. But let's go to
1968.
So here's how we really kind of like look at that. In the day before, prior to the finals, there were 2 days. One was a preliminary, and the next day would have been the finals. And so, if I did not make it through in the preliminaries, that meant that the finals was dead for me. And so, I had 3 tries to make the finals. Two tries. My first 2 tries, I fouled. So I only had one more try to make it to the finals. And my good friend, who last year passed away, Ralph Boston, made some adjustments for me, and I made it into the finals for the next day. And so let me take you to 1968 in October 18th. The clouds actually were forming over the stadium. And every day there was a shower that we would have to deal with. And so my jump was taking place somewhere between 3 and 3:30, the finals. And so I had got up that morning. I was feeling like, wow. As a matter of fact, I got up that morning, and George Foreman and I had breakfast every morning. And each morning, we would say that we were going to win a gold medal. And this morning, I had this conversation with George Foreman. George said, "I'm gonna get my goal." I said, "I'm gonna get my goal." So I was ready to go on this day of October 18th. And so as I walked through the corridor or through the long hallway going out to the field, I can tell you, I never felt as calm and as peaceful. I mean, it was like nothing in the world could touch me unless it was God. It was magnificent. It was everything in my body was very peaceful and calm. I had feeling so wonderful, so incredible with this feeling. And so I said, I'm going to do extraordinarily well with this day. And so, as you described the 3 athletes that lined up, they always teased me or they always said, "Hey, Bob, you know what? When you were getting ready to jump, they held up when you jumped, they held up our running event for almost 20 minutes because I had done something so extraordinary that we had to hold up Larry James, Ron Freeman, and Lee Evans's 400 meters." And so when I used to see them, they used to say, "Man, we could have done better if you hadn't jump like that, But anyway, so much for that. But that moment, standing up at the head of the runway, and the things that went through my mind was, one, was that God had my back. Number 2, I said I was going to bring home the gold. I came 3,000 miles or 2,000 miles away I said, man, I'm going to be right on the money. You hear me? I'm going to be on it. And so I said, there's nobody going to take this away from me. I said, if I don't do well 5 days later, I said, but this day will be my day. And so as I stood up at the head of the runway, I said, I will not be denied. And so I started to run down the runway. Boom, boom. I couldn't hear the crowds. I couldn't hear anybody. I could only hear my heart going boom, 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 boom. And as I got closer, I got more confident. And then I hit the board. I struck the board. I went up 6 feet in the air. And I stood up, I looked at my watch while I was in the air. I said, damn, I'm up here a long time. I got to come down. Let me come down. So when I came down, I didn't come down the way that I wanted to, but they rose the white flag, meant that I had a good jump. It all happened on the first jump. And so I couldn't understand why this electronic device could not document my jump, could not bring it up on the scope as they were trying to get it. And they said that the jump was longer than the electronic device. And I said, oh my God. I wasn't familiar with the international measurements of, I was only in there to understand feet and not meters. And so they put this, after 30 minutes, they struck this number up on the board, and it said 8.9 meters. And I said, wow, I wonder what person did something. It must have done something. But what was happening was people were coming out of the stands and they were coming around me. They were going nuts. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? It made me feel like I was a rock star or something, you know. And so, I was truly stunned. And they officially put that number up there, and my teammate, Ralph Boston, said, you have just jumped over 29 feet. And so the Olympic record was 26 feet, and the world record was 27.4. And so I had broken the Olympic record by 3 feet, but I also broke the world record short 2 inches of 2 feet. And the people were everybody was stunned. And all of a sudden, it hit me. And I kept that I had jumped, and I started to feel myself to see if this was going to be a dream. You know, I was like, oh man, that was a wonderful dream, man. I would love to do that. It was real life. This was real. I'm telling you, I did not think that it was real. I thought that I was dreaming or something. And then my teammates came around me and hugged me, and it became real at that time that you have done something special. I think, though, I thought that somebody was going to come and break my record. You know, I said I was ready to come back and do even better. But the first jump was the best jump, and then right after I jumped, the rain came pouring down.
Wow.
As I can say, is that probably my God, my mother, my father, all my relatives, Diane, Audrey, Russell, Gordon, everybody was excited. Everybody. I know they were. They were jumping with joy. And I tell you, to do something, it didn't necessarily have to break any records. It was just to make the Olympic team would have been just a great accomplishment for me. However, uh, I'll take it all. I'll take breaking a record. I'll take uh, all the good things that come with being motivated and dedicated to what you're doing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
Such a
I'm
defining
like,
thing.
yeah, on my edge of my seat because within that came the Beamonesque. You coining the phrase, coming that we know as spectacular feat in sports.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, um, I make comments to people. Say, you know what? I think being in the dictionary to me is even more important than what I did in the Olympics. It was. I said, wow, they got my name in the dictionary, in Webster's dictionary. And I said, I never had a library card. I, 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 I'm just really, really full of joy that, and I'm the only athlete that has ever had that happen. And so I'm just really, really blessed that that is there. And I think that, we need to have more people knowing about that. I think that the jump uh, has a great connection to the BMS definition, and I think the more they hear it, I think that the more BMS students or people will have some great endings in their life. And so I got up on the stand to receive my medal, and something really interesting happened to me. And I said to myself, "What the hell do I do now?" That's a great. It's a it's a question that haunted me for a long time because how do you duplicate something like that? It wasn't track and field. It wasn't the sport that I became interested in after I won the gold. I was searching. I was searching for something new. What can I do to to have another BMS move? And so I think it worked with me for many years. It still works with me as of today. And so I always continue to keep searching uh, for BMS kinds of things. And I've done some great things. I've got two great daughters that I love dearly. I have an incredible family. Um, I've found out who my daddy was. That was a BMS move. I found out that I have two older siblings, one male and one. I got an older brother and we got an older sister. And between all of that to me is just as incredible uh, as the jump. And so I finished college. I've uh, gone on with getting my honorary doctorate degrees and masters and things like this. And um, I've traveled the world. I've done movies. I've done commercials. I've done everything. And, and at you have to just take a little thought for a minute and just say, This cat, man, he's so motivated that I have to look at what he did in the beginning and where he's at right now. It's quite interesting. I think I have a very interesting life, and I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you guys that it has been awesome, and I'm out there motivating people to be the very best that they can be. And I have some very interesting points that could turn people around. When I talk to children, I always have very interesting comments that I make that help them move into another area of interest in their life. So I like kids coming back to me and saying, "Hey, Bob, you, Mr. Beamon, you did this here. You have done some wonderful things, and you've helped me in my life and motivating me." And so,
And what better person to have to motivate young people than you? Someone who's walked the path that you've walked. Mr. Beeman, you just take us, I just want to go back to 68 because that was such a pivotal point time in this country and around the world when those brothers raised their fist on the podium, John Carlos and Tommy Smith. How did that impact you?
well, first of all, um, it's a. I'm thinking because I want to make sure that the right words are something that uh, it can be a surprise or whatever. But to be honest with you, there was a couple of things that happened prior to me to make the Olympic team. One was I was attending the University of Texas at El Paso, and there was about 15 athletes, 15 black athletes that were attending, track athletes. We decided to boycott Brigham Young because they had a certain belief about black people and that we had to compete against them. And we decided to boycott the meet. And our university said, if you boycott the meet, you're going to lose your scholarship. And we boycotted the meet, and we lost our scholarship. However, I stayed focused and kept my eye on the prize. I did not ever feel that I would be missing a link like you miss a link in a chain. I felt like I had all of it. I had all of my motivational thoughts in my mind, and I said, there will not be any obstacles that will get in my way of what I really want to do in my life. And so I'm going to stay focused. However, there was big boycotts that talks about boycotting the Olympic Games, and for me, I kept saying, I'm not into the politics of my sport. I'm here to do business about my ability to showcase to win a gold medal, and I didn't want to walk away without having the opportunity to try. And so all the black athletes that made the team decided that we were going to make the Olympic team. We were going to participate. But I did lose my scholarship at the University of Texas at El Paso, which to me was a great sacrifice. Also, when we did that 4 days after Martin Luther King was, 4 days after we were talking about boycotting, Martin Luther King was killed. And
Mm.
so, and so that just took it to another level. It just really, the entire world was, you know, just went nuts about that. And so I asked the question, if we did boycott, what would be the outcome? What would happen? And so nobody knew what would happen. And so John Carlos and Tommy Smith took a big hit in life. John lost his wife; she committed suicide. Tommy, I guess, lost. He lost his. I mean, he divorced his. I mean, people were threatening their lives. They couldn't get jobs. I mean, it was, and even the uh, Urban League or N N N
NAACP.
NCP was also. I didn't see them around, and it was a mess. It was a mess. I could say that we were able to overcome the obstacles that were presented to us, even at the games, because when we got there, the military in Mexico City opened fire on 3,000 students and killed 3,000 students. So this was, at this time of protest, was just unbelievable. Bobby Kennedy was killed. It was going nuts. It was crazy. It was so crazy. But again, we kept our eye on the prize.
Mm. Wow, that's good stuff, because you just took us behind the scenes. People see that poster, but they don't know what went on behind the scenes and the sacrifice that some of you all made even before you hit the Olympic stage.
Right. And to be honest, I really feel that there are people that still feel the effects of John and Tommy's presentation on the stand, the Olympic stand. And it was not done as a way of, being nasty to the country or embarrassing the country. It was a task that had to be done, or it had to be acknowledged, and they did that in a non-combative way. And so they interpreted it in a very negative way.
Mm.
That wasn't good. But eventually, what they did on the stand with the hand, the fist, became one of the greatest signs
Yes.
in our history. And as of today, it is still an incredible sign to see those two brothers of what they did. And what we were fighting for then is still going on today.
That's so true. And even what do you think? And speaking to that, in that iconic move, that the Colin Kaepernick and how that was misconstrued as well with taking the knee. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he was what he did was he had America wake up again. I think they had been sleeping. And then he said, in his kneeling, he didn't even have to talk. He just knelt, and people interpreted. And so it was the same thing, you know. So it's quite interesting to see that it's happening again right now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on a world stage, and that it happened around the world, with you being at the Olympics. It was the world looking at that. And such a monumental achievement, Mr. Beeman. And I just want to, go from that transition and that experience, that how's your life changed, after that moment in history, that is so iconic, and how did you manage that transition to, make the impact that it has on your personal professional life in the years that followed?
Well, I don't want anyone to think that after winning the gold medal in Mexico, that uh, life was just so wonderful. Everything was in place. Uh, I actually, um, in times through my life situations, I've I've had $100, uh, $1,000 suit on, and I couldn't find a job, or I had 25 cents in my pocket. And so when you kind of look at that, you kind of say, what is that all about? Well, that's called getting in touch with yourself, learning what you really need and what you really don't need. And so it comes from learning. It comes from the peak experiences that I've had throughout my life of saying that, everything that shines, everything that, what is it? What do they say, Yolanda? Everything.
All that glitters isn't gold.
Right. And so life has been truly a wonderful experience. I am, I've been married over 20 some years now, and I've got two girls that one, both of them are teachers in school, and my oldest daughter is a minister, and I think those things are, for me, it means so much to me to see that they've come a long ways.
Well, now that we are in the month of June and Father's Day is right around the corner, and you being the father of two girls, what are some of the key lessons, from your athletic career that you found like invaluable through your journey, being a father?
Well, sometimes I had to be, to them, probably very, very disappointed because, um, when I leave, I left my wife, my first wife, and we got a divorce. And my other dude, I also left her too. So uh, I want to say that sometimes you have to go through situations to get some clarity, to get clear understanding of where you want to go and where you want to go. Because I was absent in some of in parts of their lives, I always wish that I had the opportunity to change how I was going. But as they say, you usually learn from your experiences. And I just want to let you guys and gals and moms and dads know that, look, life is a bitch, but you got to deal with it. You got to stay with it. I don't. I'm almost 80 years old, and somebody told me, hey, you are over. I said, man, look, man, I'm I don't feel that way. I don't want to feel. I feel like I'm gonna keep going and enjoying and helping others as long as I can. And so I think it's very important uh, that everybody should reach a Beamon-esque moment in their life. And I'm not asking them to jump 29 feet. I'm asking them to be great fathers, great parents. Uh, if you want to pursue a specific job or whatever, there's some things that you must do in order to get that job. And if you don't get that job, you got to get up and brush yourself off and go back and do it again, because that's what happened to me when I was training for uh, training as a youngster. I got beat so much that I was like, wow. But I got up, brushed myself off, and I kept going, because there's something sometimes behind madness. And I can tell you, just keep going. There are more unhappy people with doing their job than there are happy, the happy people. And so I feel that you need to go after what you want to do. Don't wait until you're almost at retirement and say, geez, I wish I had done this. I have
And
some.
speaking
Yes, please.
speaking of going after what you do, you had the gold medal, you went to college, and now you are living a life that you love. Can you share about how that came about, and take us to, when did the drums call you? Because it's not just about um it's about what you just said. You don't want to go to a job that you don't like. And so what do you find an enjoyment in recreating yourself with music?
Well, I'm still unhappy. I haven't finished. I mean, I don't. I mean, uh, I'll talk about the music, but I want to just let you know that I'm not satisfied. I'm I've been blessed that my health is somewhat in, in, in good standings. Um, I If I want to go out and do something, I prepare myself to go out in a number of ways. I have to. I get a lot of no's in what I do, but in the end, I get what needs to be done. So again, I go back to being blessed that I can sit here and tell you that yes, I love what I'm doing. I love my attitude, but I'm not satisfied. I'm, I probably need to now, since I'm in another area, another kind of play in my life is music now, and that uh, I love I've loved music ever since I've heard the drums beat when I was 9 years old, and I still hear uh, those wonderful beats in my head, and then how that turned me on uh, to continue to uh, want to come back into the world of music, which would be percussion. And so uh, one day, uh, uh, I just decided that I was going to commit to uh, being being a percussionist again. And a couple of people were saying, "Yeah, you think you can do that?" I said, "You watch me, man. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me." And one day I was kind of uh, talking to myself up here in this music room, and I started hitting these drums, and I said, "Wow, I'm gonna have to get on my horses, and I'm gonna have to get this thing done. I'm gonna have to start learning how to hit them again and listen to sounds and things and all that kind of stuff." Now I'm a collector of music. And, I have thousands and thousands of albums of all, from rock to Bach, everything. You can come up here and get lost because I have it all, as Peter told Paul. You got it all. So here's my thing, and I hope maybe I didn't get off track, but I'd like to just say that uh, I had a beautiful experience here in this room by falling on my butt, not being able to hit a drum properly, and then turn it around where I could hit a drum and play and actually play again. And so when I started working with Stix, he worked with me every day, and I want to thank him personally for his commitment to me. And he then said to me, after he saw that I had some talent, he said, "Man, I want you to cut an album." But before I did that, I had to ask my cousin Al, "Al, do you think I should try to come back or hit the drum?" He said, "Absolutely." And so it was Al that said, "Go on and do it, man. Go on and do it." So I am truly thankful for my cousin for encouraging me uh, to go back and hit that drum and hit it right, you know. And so I've done that. And so uh, Stix asked me to cut an album with him, and I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Well, maybe I can be a rock star now. Maybe people are kind of be crowding around me, you know. Like, yeah, man, you play those drums good." But I'm looking at it now as uh, basically enjoying myself, but I'm not satisfied with what I'm doing. I need to right now. I need to perfect myself more. I need to get down and work out. You know, like 4 and 5 hours a day. Again, I'm not satisfied with my results. I need to do some more stuff. I need to. I also want to. I also want to. I also want to have a Bob Beamon band, and I want to create an album. I want to make an album, and I know that my creativity is right along with my ability play a drum. And so I'm looking at it in the future of doing something, producing something, and production.
Nice. Talk to us a little bit about the Olympics. We have the Olympics coming up, the 2024 Olympics. I've read that you've served on the Olympic Committee at certain points. I take it you'll be there. It's in Paris. Talk to us about that. Your experiences going to the Olympics after having won the gold and setting a record that still holds after 56 years. The Olympic record still holds under your name. So, what does that feel like when you go back to the games? When you see those new athletes, what does that do for you? And now that you are a musician officially, what does that do for you when you go to Paris? Will you be doing anything with your music there? Just talk to us. Give us a little behind the scenes of what that will look like for you this year at the Olympics.
Well, I will be doing something musically.
Mm-hmm.
And, I will be playing with a gentleman that was discovered by Quincy Jones, if I'm not mistaken, Abrim Malouf, and, an incredible trumpeter. My conversations with him were so unbelievable, and getting his interest of saying, "I'd like you to play with me at the Olympics." I'm like, whoa, here's another peak experience, I guess similar to breaking the record at the Olympic Games. And so I go back now as a musician. I mean, I'll be doing other things too. But as a musician, it's like, I think it opens the doors of other talented Olympic athletes that had to give it up in the very beginning in order uh, to make the Olympic teams. And so I think that I've opened the doors for others to want to come in and do something other than just run track or play basketball or be a gymnast or a skater or whatever. So I think that, I guess I might have that drum major instinct leading this new wave of athletes and getting them to the point where I just don't want to do just sports. I want to do other things that have made me happy or things that could have made me happy until I had to stop and get involved in sports. So I see the Olympics as a place to do art things. We have some incredible artists that are Olympic artists that are unbelievably talented. And I used to I was the president and CEO of the Olympic Museum in Fort Myers. And we had artwork, sculptures, things from nothing but Olympic athletes who are unbelievably talented. I mean, they can have gone either way. And so I'm 100% for people to take advantage of everything that they can do. Visit everything that they can do. Don't put your head down. Keep your head up, and let's keep going. Let's move. Let's keep it going, man. Let's motivate. Let's get started. Let's do things. Let's don't stay still. Let's keep the moving. We had in the music world, I like one of the great trumpet players, Miles Davis,
Mm-hmm.
who was a trendsetter. He wasn't. He wasn't uh, a guy that followed somebody else, but what he did was he took from all the things that he had, and he came up with his own sound. And I like his way of thinking. So I'm kind of hoping that I can get uh, youngsters as well as adults to start thinking in that way. You know, don't think one way. You know, give us many ways of coming. Um, I just think that it's a good way to stay healthy and stay motivated.
So you mentioned new athletes, the athlete of today. If you had a choice to make your jump again in 68 or make your jump today, and the reason I ask you that is we have athletes today who are getting endorsements and big money coming out the gate. And you mentioned that when you all left that Olympic stage, you had to look for work. If you had to do it again, would you jump in 68 or would you make that jump today?
I would do just what I'm doing. It can't be all about money. It can't be all about endorsements. It has to be something within you that has to keep rocking and rolling. You know, we've seen people make a whole bunch of money, and they just as happy and unhealthy. They just as rotten as they can be, rotten to the core. Money. They say money is the root of all evil, but that I don't go for it. But money can really take you away from who you really are. You gotta stay in, you should stay in your lane. Don't try to be somebody else. Stay in your lane. You don't get there. You don't get there. So um, I think I think that a lot of people talk about, oh, if I had money, if I had this and I had that. Yeah, but some of the smart ones say, if you make money, it's harder to keep money than it is to think about getting it. You got to find ways of keeping it. You got to find ways of understanding the system, the economic system. How do you, if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? I used to give the youngsters a test when I do motivational speeches, and I would say to a youngster, I say, what sport do you like? He say, oh, I love football. I say, well, I'm going to give you, this is in front of a class, and I tell them, hey, I'm going to give you a contract for $1 million. And I want to know, what would you do with your $1 million? And they would say, oh man, you're gonna give me $1 million? I said, yeah, I'm gonna give you $1 million because we know that you are a great athlete and you've done extraordinarily well. So what are you gonna do with it? So he says, the first thing he said, I'm gonna buy my mother a biggest house in the world. And I said, well, how much you gonna give? How much you gonna spend for your mother? Because she kept those diapers dry. She kept all that stuff. Well, she did all the motherly things and all that kind of stuff. And so they said, well, I'll probably do about two. I said, maybe you think 300,000? Oh no, I'll probably do 400. I say, okay. So now that you bought the house, well, what are you going to do about putting the furniture in? Oh man, I'm going to give her the joint. I'm going to give her the best furniture in the world. So I'm saying, how much you going to spend? I'll spend 100,000. I'll spend 150,000 on furniture. And I said, well, what are you going? What she can't walk around. You got what are you going to do about her transportation? Oh, I'm going to buy her a Mercedes Benz. I said, well, how much is that going to be? Well, it'll be 100 and some thousand. I said, okay. So now, what are you going to do with yourself? Oh man, I'm gonna set it up, man. I'm gonna buy a mansion. I'm gonna buy a mansion. It's gonna cost me about 800-900,000. I said, okay. So now you spent your money, and I said, um, you have you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Uncle Sam? And he said, who the hell is that? I said, he's a guy that's going to collect your taxes that you made on your money, $1 million. You can't spend all that money. You have to give some of that to Uncle Sam. So I didn't know that. And so and I talk about many athletes have done just that. They've gotten themselves in trouble financially with the IRS. Uh, and so I give little things like that to make people aware, youngsters aware of their surroundings, because I didn't know anything about money either. I wish that I had it, but no. I guess everybody wishes that they had a little bit more than they started out with. So I'm glad that I was able to understand that and make my mistakes as I went along to understand the business. In black families, I don't think you have uh, a lot of business dealings where, you know, would they know what a 401 is, or who would know about interest rates? How do you put your money into a bank? What do you do with your money? If you had $1,000, would you put your money in a savings account or a checking account? You know. So I want you to break it down for me. So I give them all kinds of interesting little things to do where it makes them more aware of the economics, and and I would say that we've got more youngsters ignorant of the fact that you got to know what money really stands for. It it can really make things really bad for you if you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a great little segue to my book. And so I'll play that quick commercial now. And Mr. Beeman will come back for the final conversation and really deep, we've taken a deep dive. And so we'll transition into um, closing out for this evening in the conversation because we need you for part two. We couldn't get it all done in this short time frame. So we'll be right back with Power Fridays Live.
Introducing Money Just Flew Out the Window by Janelle Pulley. Get your copy of the book. Money Just Flew Out the Window. It shows you how to manage and build family wealth. Discover how to protect your family and your future. How to build a proper financial foundation. Discover reasons why you have been financially unstable. Why financial freedom is important. How to key into the financial liberty your fellow men who have this knowledge are enjoying. Discover ways to retain the freedom regardless of your income. Support the family without stress. And lots more. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window now.
Welcome back. So, Mr. Beeman, thank you so much for bringing that financial conversation to surface. And, we do thank you, for your contribution and for you sharing with us, looking for other opportunities to Beamonesque your life. And through you've had a powerful transformation, and you've of course leaped beyond boundaries. What looking back on your incredible journey, from the track to the stage where you're playing your music and your future dreams of having your own band, what has been the most valuable lessons about resilience, creativity, and exploring what your identity really is?
Common sense. Common sense. Uh, we we sort of learn it early on when we do something as a child. One of the things that I learned was that I used to strike matches. I like to light them, and one day I lit it and burned the hell out of myself. The first thing that they did, they told me, you know, if you mess with fire, it's gonna burn you. I look at it in life situation. I look at it as common sense will get you a long ways in life. And I've used that so much. And just the other day, uh, I was in New York, and this guy, uh, uh, I get in a cab, and the cab guy tells me at the end of the trip where I get off, it was double the price. It was like almost $100, and I was and this trip it only cost maybe $30. And so the first thing that came to my mind was, do I sit in this car and do I argue with this guy, or I just say, okay, Bob, the next time you get in a cab, you got to ask questions. This is not a private cab. This is a regular yellow cab, or uh, you just make sure that when you ride, you know what you ride to, that where you're going, what you're doing. I mean, I had to sit there for a minute and just say, you know what? Let me get up out of this seat and let me go to my room and enjoy myself. I don't need to be upset with this here, but I do know the next time I get in a cab that I'm going to ask some questions, so forth. So, as I say, common sense, uh, and I don't want people to lie to themselves. I want people to be honest with themselves. And one of the most difficult things to do is to be honest with yourself, because you always be talking like, well, why are you always late? Why are you always late to class, guy? Well, because I did. You don't even want to hear that. You want to just say, look, the real deal is that you did not do what you were supposed to do to get to this class on time. So the deal is that you have to be honest with yourself. Don't put no things in there to try to uh, make yourself feel good or whatever. Just be honest with yourself, and you will go a long way.
This podcast is, it's about uplifting entrepreneurs and showcasing entrepreneurs. It's about people building.
It's time to call.
Positively. With the training that you put yourself through mentally and physically to prepare for the number of victories that you've accomplished, what advice would you give someone, whether they're an athlete or not, someone who is striving for greatness, someone who is striving for, even if they don't know about that word Beamon-esque, it's achieving a great feat. It's being at the top. So for someone who's looking to achieve that greatness, what would you tell them? What advice would you give?
Well,
Talk, if you would, Bob, talk to the entrepreneurs, talk to the people that they have a goal, but maybe they're not sure. They're preparing for that Olympic moment. They're in training right now. What would you tell them to do?
I would, and as I usually say to them, is stay in your lane. Don't be zigzagging in and out and doing this and doing that and da 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 da. Stay with your plan. All you have to do is change it somewhat or whatever. Do that, but you ain't got to go all the way over there in the other lane over there in the middle lane, or if you're in the fast lane, or if you're in the slow lane, or if don't be zigzagging in and out of there. Plan it, and if it doesn't work, you got to go back, dust yourself off, and get back into striving for that goal. Goal can be done in little inches, feet, yards. I just think that you have to feel good about oneself to get to that level. You can't let anybody get in your way of what you're trying to do, because again, there are more people to throw obstacles in your way than you can ever imagine. And so, if I can make a comment about there was I was serving on a bank board in Florida, and I was on the board of directors, and so they had this lady. Well, before that, a lot of black men and women have said, I've gone to banks and I've asked them for a loan. They don't give me a loan or whatever. And so that's very much understandable. But what really happened to make me look at a couple things was the fact that serving on this board of directors, they had a lady that was a single mom. She had 2 children. She was in real estate. She built houses, and she was asking the board of directors to give her this loan. I think she wanted like $5 million. And so we were looking at the what are your assets? And she said, I've got about $300,000 that I make throughout the year. And so the board people were looking around and saying, we can't do nothing with that. And so the loan officer got up and he made a presentation to us to tell us how confident he was and believed in what she did. And she had a track record. And that he wanted her to get this fucking out. And in the end, she got it. But what I saw also was the lady had a relationship with the loan officer, and I mean that she had a relationship where he must have said something. She must have said something to him to make him feel so confident in getting that kind of money. And so I'm looking at us as Black people as that we have to spend more time in the bank taking a loan officer to lunch or to understand who this guy is or her. I just feel like we don't need to be negative. We need to go after it. We need to go after it. I mean, we need to go after our dream. We can't sit down and say, "Oh, Jesus, they're not going to give me a loan." That's cool. I've sit on another board, and they look at, they give money to minorities, and so I'm just saying, there's all kinds of ways. So my thing is that never give up. There's I spend some time at the bank, spend some time getting to know bankers, get to know what they do, understand. Uh, and then I hear sometimes that when some of these people do get loans, they go out and buy a big car, and that throws them off, and so they go into another kind of thing. So you got to stay right there in your lane. Don't be zigzagging in life. Stay, work on it, practice it. It's just like I had to practice in training. I couldn't zigzag. I couldn't take a shortcut. I couldn't stop believing in myself. I couldn't, um, I couldn't feel angry about somebody did something to me. I had to come back and get my act together to counteract that kind of stuff so that I could stay focused and stay on goal task, stay on my task, stay happy, stay in love with what I'm doing, enjoying life, enjoying the way God put us on this earth, man. He said, Bob, man, it's gonna be hard. Ain't nobody told you it's gonna be easy. Come on, man, get it together. Stay in your lane, bro. There you go.
Janelle, you know I'm a basketball fan, right?
Oh, yes, I
Did
do.
you not hear him say that at one point he played basketball?
Yes, I
I just,
did hear.
I just gotta sneak that in. I
Yeah.
need to know about that. Just get 25 words or less. Tell us about basketball. Like, did you really play, or did you just dabble with it? Is there a certain position you played?
I played high school ball. I played middle school basketball. I played college ball, and I was drafted by Phoenix Suns in the NBA. However, uh, as much as I loved it, one day I went into camp, and this is when you get all the members of the team that are wanting to play for the team to actually start training for it. And I went in early in the morning, was very excited about it. And something interesting happened to me. And so I was on the layup line, laying the ball up. And and I'm watching everybody, enjoying watching everybody, and all that kind of stuff. And then uh, the coach said, "Guys, we want to take a break and do lunch, and I want you guys to be back at 1 o'clock." Let me tell you, I took the break, and that's when I said, "I'm finished with sports."
Mm.
I was so excited about basketball because basketball, uh, I was in stiff competition about which sport I was going to take as being the number one. And that day, I gave it up. I gave up all sports and said I will pursue other things in life, like understanding business, understanding what it takes, and I gave it up. I gave it up in a couple of hours. That's hard to do. That truly, I mean, that's truly hard to do. I mean, I had the newspaper was like following me every day. We were talking about during that time receiving a $500,000 to that I wanted and to make the team. That made good publicity and all of that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, I took my last layup, and I said, "That's it for me, man. That's it. I'm through." I'm through.
Okay, so you were serious. Who's your favorite player?
I got a couple guys. Doc is one.
Hey, now you're talking my language.
Doc is one. Um, Nate Archibald is another.
Ah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Uh, we all played ball together. But again, it takes a person that has to be in touch with themselves to understand
Mm.
when to make the next move in life.
Mm.
You got to understand. You got to be in touch with yourself to make the next move in
Hmm.
your life.
Mm.
But anyway, so much for that.
Yes.
So
Sounded like that sounds like you said yes to yourself in making that decision.
I definitely did. I had no interest. I mean, that afternoon. I mean, that leaving that gym that day was it. I just said no more, no more of anything, no more of nothing, no more. I've done it all.
Well, this has been an awesome, wonderful, and I'm speechless with being with you to this evening. I thank you so much for your time. I know you could have been anywhere, and we so appreciate the time that you spent with us today, Mr. Beeman. And I've learned so much from a man who has taken your journey in looking at your dreams from a 9-year-old to now you're almost 80 and still dreaming. That's a great big takeaway for me, and that you're still striving for more, striving for that Beaman-esque moment again. So from humble beginnings to the brink of history, you're navigating fame and new horizons. From sporting arenas to musical stages, a powerful transformation beyond the boundaries of you going after your dream. Thank you for blessing us with knowing that we have to have common sense, stay in our lane, and stay focused on our goal. Mr. Beeman, you've not just, as an athlete, defied gravity, but as a man who's lived a full, diversified life of impact and inspiration. I say thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for setting a record that's insurmountable and continuing on with having big dreams in your life. The best is yet to come. Thank
Mm.
you for
Absolutely.
allowing us to be in the space of your greatness today.
Well, thank you for giving me the platform to actually make comments on things that I think that are critical for all African American people. And I mean, we can talk about Latin American people, uh, or we can talk about even white people. And just to understand the significance of what it takes just to stay on top. You know, you know. I say, don't drown, baby. Keep up. Keep staying up on top. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Just float it on out. You're gonna be just fine. Don't worry. Be
I
happy.
like I like that, Janelle. Don't drown. Float it on.
I love it too. Well, thank you so much for being part of our 200th episode. And I'm going to play a quick video. And here we go.
My name is Letitia Bertrand, and I'm chairwoman for AI for Africa Empowerment. I want to say big, huge, massive congratulations to Janelle on her 200th episode of Power Fridays Live. Janelle, I am so super proud of you. You have impacted lives, you have impacted businesses all around the globe with your commitment, your passion, your vision. You have seen this program through to 200 episodes. That is super amazing. I'm wishing you 200 more and beyond. I'm so super proud of you. Congratulations once again, my friend.
Thank you so much, Mr. Beeman, for being part of this another a historic moment in my history for being part of our platform today with Power Fighters Live and being our 200th interview that we've conducted. And I thank you, especially Yolanda, for being my co-host this evening. As we embark upon this new journey in
It's a pleasure.
impacting people's lives.
Here's
And I keep playing around with this scarf, but I do need to mention that this was one of the official scarves worn by the Olympians during one of the Olympic Games, and this was designed by Mr. Beeman. So I've been playing with it, but I was really trying to show it off. All right.
well.
The American flag going on and the Olympic rings, and it says USA. So thank you for representing us strong.
Here is my last word. So we were talking about the number 200. So it's an exciting number, but you need to erase that out of your mind. You don't even need to even think about 200. You know, you just need to just do it. Don't think about numbers. It all comes together, but just do it because you love. Yeah, 200. Just do it. Just don't think about it.
Thank you.
Float it on out.
You got it, guys. You got it.
Well, thank you so much. And as we say each and every Friday night, be, do, and have the greatness that you desire because the greatness is in you. And as you, Mr. Bob Beatman, shared your greatness with us this evening, we thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next weekend for another great episode of Power Fridays Live with the numbers erased. Have a great one. Thanks for
Take,
joining us.
take care,
God
everyone.
bless.
Blessings.